All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Brianna.
And I'm Akira.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
You know, I always say on this channel, pay-per-view fights should actually be free. And now the day has come where I'm about to hook you up with an app where you can watch all your pay-per-view events, boxing, UFC, etc. for free. I want to introduce Block TV, the best internet streaming television app out there. They provide over 3,600 channels including HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Stars. They have a massive video on demand library with over 40,000 of the new release movies and the latest TV series. And it also includes DVR, so you're getting all of this for $34.99 a month, and once again, that includes free pay-per-view. So this one right here is a no-brainer, guys, because back in Las Vegas, I was paying damn near $200 a month for my cable. Those days are long gone now. So to get the app, make sure you guys go over to getblocktv.com and put in my promo code and get 30% off your first month. You also get a free month for every friend you refer. The promo code is DBNation. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So pound for pound, the best brand in boxing, PBC and Al Haymon, has finally brought big time boxing back. With 9 live events, 18 undefeated fighters, 9 world champions, and 8 world championship fights beginning August 1st. I mean, we are gonna get to see almost all of the big name fighters going up against tough opposition. Within the next 2 to 3 months, we're gonna get to see Gervonta Tank Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, the Charlo brothers, David Benavidez, and they're all going to be matched up tough. Well, there's a lot more fights than that, but these are some of the biggest names. And guys, keep in mind, we're not even including the big announcements that Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao are soon to make. So as I always say, it's about to go down like a plane crash. So let me show you guys this list of fights that's gonna be on Showtime and PBC. Starts off in August 1st with the Battle of the Undefeateds. You have 2 good prospects in Stephen Fulton versus Angelo Leo, both undefeated once again. 2 fighters willing to take the ultimate risk, willing to sacrifice their undefeated record to take their career to the next level. See, this is what makes Al Haymon so special, is he's one of the only businessmen we've ever seen in the sport of boxing that basically makes his fighters fight against other undefeated fighters. Because if you've been following PBC, then you've noticed a lot of times undefeated prospects are matched up against other undefeated prospects. That's not the way it has been traditionally when it comes to other promoters. Now, I know technically Al Haymon is not a promoter, but he's in that category with promoters. But with other promoters, we usually see the complete opposite. You see this undefeated prospect going up against complete tomato cans with like 5 to 10 losses, and this sometimes goes on for 3 years in that fighter's career. Now, that makes sense if you're putting your fighter in there with soft touches for the first 5 or 10 fights to get his feet wet, entering the pro rankings. But you should not be fighting opponents like that when you're 15, 20-0. And Al Haymon, he understood this. Al Haymon was able to give boxing fans and fighters something that no promoter had ever given the boxing world. And that's putting on the best fights while making it worth the fighters' while compensating the fighters very well to where they say, this is a dangerous fight and there's no guarantee I'm gonna win this fight. But Al Haymon is gonna take care of me regardless if I lose the fight. Meaning, I'm not gonna be thrown all the way to the back of the line, having to wait another 2 years to get a good payday. There's been a lot of fights that took place that most likely would not have taken place if it wasn't for Al Haymon pushing the fighters to take the fight, making it worth their while. For example, when it came to Adrian Broner at the time when he fought Sean Porter, Adrian Broner wasn't really a welterweight. And truth be told, he didn't want to take that fight. But Al Haymon said, don't worry about it. You take this fight, regardless if you lose, you're gonna be brought back. You're gonna be brought back right away. Just like in the NFL, right? In the NFL, a football team, they can lose. They can get slaughtered in one game, come back the very next week as if that last game didn't even take place. This is what Al Haymon does. Look at how many times Adrian Broner lost and how many opportunities he got after he lost. Look at Manny Pacquiao's situation. Manny Pacquiao is already praising Al Haymon as the best promoter slash businessman he has ever worked with. And we know who he used to work with before. Manny Pacquiao, when he was with Top Rank, he was fighting old past their prime fighters like Lucas Matisse. He was fighting against fighters we had never heard of, like Jeff Horn at the time, who Jeff Horn had made a name off of Manny Pacquiao, but we had never heard of him before, right? All of a sudden, Manny Pacquiao signs with PBC. He's fighting Adrian Broner. He's fighting Keith Thurman. Now he's looking at Errol Spence or even Terrence Crawford. When Manny Pacquiao was with Top Rank, which is the same promotional company that Terrence Crawford is with, we were never going to see Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford. Now that Manny is with Al Haymon, we finally hear Manny saying he actually is interested in a Terrence Crawford fight or even an Errol Spence fight. This is all because of Al Haymon, guys. Because Al Haymon gives you that incentive that other promoters don't give their fighters. They don't make it worth the risk, and Al Haymon does. So look at this list, guys. You got David Benavidez going up against Romer Angulo. Hopefully I said that name right. But Romer Angulo is a good opponent. He's a good opponent. He only lost one time. He lost to Gilberto Ramirez, but it was a slugfest, and it was a competitive fight. So he's never been knocked out. He also beat the undefeated prospect, Anthony Sims. So this is another good matchup. Then you have Eriksen Lubin going against Terrell Gousha, another great fight. Eriksen Lubin, he's really bounced back well since being stopped by Jermell Charlo in the first round. He's fighting almost as if it never even happened. But I still believe before the Hammer gets back in the ring with Jermell Charlo, he should first match himself up against another one of the top 3, top 5 junior middleweights in the world. Get past them, and then it would really make sense for him to take that rematch. So moving on down the list, then you have a major doubleheader, a pay-per-view doubleheader, which involves the Charlo twins, both in tough. Jermell Charlo is in a unification bout going up against Jason Rosario. Jamal Charlo is going up against Sergey Derevyevchenko. Great card. It's so crazy because every time the Charlo brothers fight on PBC, they do damn near record-breaking numbers. They do record-breaking views. It's always either the highest or some of the highest views of the year. So I already know this doubleheader is going to do some crazy numbers. But this is the reason why PBC is pound for pound the best brand in boxing. They've completely replaced HBO. And it's so ironic because Jim Lampley, the face of HBO boxing commentary at least, he was the one that boldly came out on his TV show, like about a year after Al Haymon emerged, and he start already praying for the demise of PBC. He start telling people they won't last. He start comparing them to other black people who tried to start promotional companies. Basically indirectly saying that black people will never be successful at doing this. I mean, look at the other black people that tried. This is exactly what a lot of politicians said when Obama was running for president. They said, well, look at Jesse Jackson. You know, this is just another Jesse Jackson. He has no chance. Even Bill Clinton said this about Barack Obama when he was running for president. It's just a fantasy. Bill Clinton's exact words were, it's just a fairy tale. Look at what happened with Jesse Jackson. This is exactly what they did with Al Haymon. So Jim Lampley, he said this about PBC. He projected that PBC would be a sunken ship within the next year or so. And you fast forward to present day, it turns out PBC and Al Haymon actually sunk the biggest ship in boxing, which was HBO. By the way, if you guys like these animated images I'm showing you right now, go ahead and show my brother support, Lunatoon Boxing on Instagram. Go ahead and follow him. Getting back to the list. So then you have Sergey Lipinets going up against an undefeated fighter, Uzbekistan fighter by the name of and I'm gonna try to pronounce this, I've never pronounced his name before, Abdulkakarov. We all know that Sergey Lipinets is always in exciting fights. And with him going up against an undefeated fighter, it gives Abdulkakarov an opportunity to make a name by possibly beating the experienced Sergey Lipinets. And guys, I made a mistake at the beginning of this video, and I told you that we're gonna see some good fights for the next 2 or 3 months. Let me change that. For the next 5 to 6 months, leading all the way up into the end of the year, December. And once again, this is not including all the other fights that haven't been announced yet. But then we move on to October, another barn burner. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. This is gonna be a great matchup. You have the tall, long volume puncher in Leo Santa Cruz versus the short knockout artist in Tank Davis. This fight is gonna be explosive, guys. And Tank Davis is going in there to obviously knock out Leo Santa Cruz. I'm just saying, there's no guarantee Tank wins this fight. But if he does stop Leo Santa Cruz, something that no one has ever came close to doing, that would be a hell of a statement. Then we close out this year with very good prospect Chris Colbert going up against Jaime Arbelita. And then you have Nonito Donaire going up against another undefeated fighter. And his name is Nordine Ubali. So guys, big time boxing is back. Big time boxing is definitely back. I look forward to watching all of these fights because while we did have ESPN fights, it didn't really feel like boxing was back. It felt like it was preseason or something like that, like they were just test fights. But with this list right here, you're gonna feel like the sport is actually back. It's not 100% back yet because we're still gonna be watching fanless arenas, but as long as we got the big matchups, that's all that matters. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Are you ready to take your striking game to the next level? Then you've got to get the focus ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, reflex, hand-eye coordination, head movement, and striking IQ. Lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere with the focus ball.